People really trust the brand because they know the person behind it.
The nuts and bolts of your business, because this is where I get excited.
Building a community is the real value in your business.
Hey guys, this is a quick message from our sponsor, Wix e-commerce, the professional platform that enables entrepreneurs all over the world to create and run their online stores and grow their e-commerce businesses. One of those entrepreneurs is Angel Gregorio, who runs thespicesweet.com, a $2 million multi-channel business on Wix. When the pandemic forced so many brick-and-mortar businesses to close their doors, Angel knew she had to pivot to online to keep selling her spices and keep up with the demand of her loyal customers. In fact, in just a few months, she sold over $900,000 worth of spices through her online store, and her last batch sold out in 2.5 minutes. Angel uses social channels to drive special sales and email marketing to update her customers about new inventory and upcoming events. She also uses in-depth analytics to gain business insights and monitor everything in her sales funnel: store management, marketing automations, and detailed payment reports, all from one dashboard. So if you want to succeed in 2021 and grow your online business like Angel did, head over to wix.com/ecommerce today.
You're listening to E-Commerce Uncensored with Kevin Manel and Jason Caruso.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us on another episode of E-Commerce Uncensored. This is episode number 212. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
Today we are joined with Kim Lewis from CurlMix. Really smart, young entrepreneur. She's awesome. She has a great story. She built up this really cool hair care product, and it's blowing up. She's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away by. She told us privately how old she is. I don't want to say it. I don't think she said it on the podcast. Did she?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Maybe she did, but she's very young. She's still in her 20s, and it's amazing. She talks about how much money they're making. So I'm not going to spoil it, but you guys are really gonna. I think you're really going to enjoy what she has to talk about, because she dropped a lot of big.
She lays it all out. She tells a lot of strategies that are really going to be helpful.
Yeah. But guys, before we get into this podcast, we have to talk about our Facebook group. Our Facebook.
Yeah. Yes.
The truth about Facebook ads.
You need to talk about it.
I need to talk about it because people are buying it. It's crazy because, like we did this Facebook thing and like, maybe I'll just share my secrets with everybody, like how I'm getting these returns, because I feel like I got to like help people, that were in my position just a few years ago. And I'm like, I'll just tell everybody about it, and like, it's blowing me away that like we've done pretty much absolutely no marketing and people are joining. It's crazy. And the success that they're having is even crazier. Like, so if you're running Facebook ads, you need to learn what you should be paying attention to and what you shouldn't be paying attention to, how much money you should be spending and why you should be spending it. I go through it all. It's at ecommerceuncensored.com/truth. I'd love to have you in there. And
yeah, and you just recently just wrote up the whole background story of how you like got to this point, which I thought was really awesome. And that's all on the landing page. You got to check that out.
Yeah. Went from not knowing what the hell we were doing, spending $20, turning the ads off, spending another $50, turning them. So yeah, probably a lot of people can relate with that.
Yeah. So cool. Go check that out. ecommerceuncensored.com/truth. And now our interview with Kim Lewis from CurlMix. Hey, Kim, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Kevin and Jason. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
So, wait. We are not awesome. I am awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that. We all know that. So like always, we had a really great conversation with you before we got on for about 20 minutes. And we're going to, obviously hit on some of those things that we talked about. But why don't you first give us a little bit of background about CurlMix and kind of how it all started?
So at CurlMix, we make clean beauty products for curly hair. So I like to think of them as simple beauty rituals because we don't just do hair care products, we do skincare as well. But our products help you get the best wash and go ever. So I don't know if you guys can see my hair, I pretty much have the same hair in every picture. So that's kind of what our products help you achieve. but we didn't start out with a 4-step system for wash and go. We actually started out as like a DIY kit for hair. So think like Blue Apron, but for hair. And we would send people all the raw materials to make their own hair care products at home. And then 2 years after that, we figured out that people loved our flaxseed gel. And our flaxseed gel is literally raw flax seeds that you boil. When you extract it, you get a gel. And they were using that for wash and goes. And so we pivoted our entire business to focus on flaxseed gel for wash and goes. And so that is what we do at CurlMix.
So I assume wash and go. I mean, I'm a guy, so I don't know a whole lot about wash and go. Is that just what it is? Like you wash your hair and you go? Is that basically what that concept is?
The idea is that, but that's not what I do. So if you have curly, kinky hair, you cannot just wash your hair and walk out the house. We call it the CurlMix method. And it's actually on our blog. If you go to CurlMix University and you look for the CurlMix method on our blog, you'll see like we have a 15-part video series explaining about basic hair care. The second step is about how to moisturize your hair. And then the third part of the CurlMix method is actually how to style it. And so we have like 5 different videos for 5 different hair textures to show you the exact process for how to do it.
Yeah, that's interesting, Kevin, because that's we talked about before we got on was one of our clients was Revair, and you're familiar with Revair, and you know, I think that'd be something that would work really well for Revair, because this is like a product that like is invented by our client. It's not something everybody is familiar with, and I like that. I like that you actually are walking people through how to do it. And I think, you know, I think a lot of people can learn from that, because I think, you know, when you're running a business with a product that you've created that, you know, sometimes it's hard to step back and say, okay, what are people thinking that don't know anything about this? So I think that's a really smart move, is like educating people.
Yeah, it's the thing that I think differentiates us as a brand. I've been going live in my bathroom for almost 3 years, showing people how to do my wash and go in the shower. Literally fully clothed, but getting soaking wet for an hour, from start to finish, showing people how to do my hair. And that is how we've sold a lot of our products. And then also creating a method and a tutorial based methodology for them to follow. So we also, with every order, we get a set of instructions on how to use the product. With like nice little infographics and tips based on your hair texture. We do a lot to educate our customers, because one, natural hair is still fairly new. Like the industry is only really like maybe a decade old, a decade and a half. When you think about skincare is 100+ years old. You know what I'm saying? Like there's 20,000 skincare brands. And while we say the natural hair market is competitive, there are only a few hundred of us. Like it's not nearly as many. We haven't even reached 1,000 yet. And so it's still a new industry, and consumers don't really know how to do their hair. So we have to do a lot on the education. So I remember one customer asked me, she's like, so this shampoo, like, do I rinse it out? And I was like, okay. So like, I need to teach. Okay, I got you. I can do that. And so I actually started my career in hair care going to all the expos. And in the expos, you would talk to people, just somebody who's never heard about your business, and you sit and kind of pitch them person by person. And I really think that helped prepare me for going live every week for the last several years, and then doing hair live, because you learn how to talk to people and figure out what their problems are. And that's when I learned that most people were starting from like ground zero, and I really had to teach them everything, like even the basics, you know?
Yeah. And what's really interesting about that is I think that, you know, a lot of, you know, we own an agency, like we told you before we got on, and we get a lot of people that come to us and they're like, well, I got this product that I love and I want people to buy it, but nobody's buying it. And, you know, like the first thing that we say is like, are you sure they need it? Are you sure it's like solving a problem that they want to be solved? You know? And I think going live, you can interact with people and you can hear their feedback. And I'm guessing, I mean, you seem like you kind of like did this surgically. You're like, okay, people are asking me the same thing over and over and over. People are like having the same problems over and over and over. And then you take your marketing and you take whatever your product development and you just start answering those questions. And it just makes it a much easier process than trying to force your product down somebody's throat.
Yes. Show me, don't tell me. That has been the model in our marketing, especially since we're an online company, right? You don't get to hold the product in your hand before you buy it. You don't get to like read the ingredient label all the time. Like you just don't get the same in-store experience. And so how can I give you as much as possible to make you feel comfortable with the purchase that you're making? So that means there's a video about what the product and packaging is going to look like on the product page. It means there's a video of multiple hair textures using it on the product page. There's also a video of there's thousands of reviews. Like there's just so much that people will need to get over the hump when it's online. And education is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, over the last 2 years working with Rev Air, it really was kind of eye-opening to see all this natural hair stuff evolve. Like, it's like a serious movement that's happening, especially with people with like your coily type hair. People are, it's a huge struggle for people. And I see, because I see the reviews coming in from them. I'm like, oh my God, I fell back in love with my hair. And it's like a serious deal. So I feel like that's been a huge thing for you as well, right? Just grasping onto that movement, right?
You know, it's funny. Women of color spend 9 times more on beauty products and particularly hair care and like, you know, cosmetics, because most cosmetics aren't really made with us in mind. So when we find something that really solves our problem, we buy it. Or the product, hair or skin or whatever. But you'll go to investors and they'll, you know, we raised $1.2 million from the CEO of LinkedIn and some other partners. Former CEO, Jeff is no longer there. He's there, but he's on the board. He's not a CEO anymore. And then, you know, we ended up doing about 6 million in revenue last year, all online. So no retail, no Target, Walmart, none of that, just online through CurlMix.com and a teeny bit of Amazon. And I'll go to talk to investors and they're like, I want to see more, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm just like you don't understand the target market. You don't understand the audience. Like, I don't know what more you want me to show you. You know what I mean? And so, it comes from people not knowing the market, you know, not knowing that this is a gold mine here. And the people who know, they get in early and they're quiet about it, you know, but other folks, they need more proof.
Well, I think there's also, and it's sad to say this, but I also think there's a big shift happening right now with just the acceptance of being natural, right? Like with the law in California, and now people are all doing what we're doing right now, working from Zoom. So like, I feel like it's opening up more of an opportunity for people to be natural, to just do what they really wanted to always do, that maybe they weren't accepted in the workplace. So I think like, and look, you know, Rev Air has been like experiencing some amazing things happening there. And I'm just wondering if that's part of it, is like it's just being more accepted. So people are just doing it more. I don't know. I don't have any hair. So
So, you know, there's a couple things that happen. So I don't know if you guys have heard of like Shea Moisture and their $1 billion exit to Unilever, right? I don't know if you guys have heard of that. So
I've heard of, yeah.
Their come up happened in 08. And in 08, there was a recession happening. And when recession is happening, women aren't able to go to the salon. They aren't able to go and get their hair done by a professional. They have to figure out how to do it at home, right? And so, you know, for Rev Air, for CurlMix, you know, we're able to drop our ad spend significantly and still make 6 million, you know, in revenue, has a lot to do with the market and how people are not able to go to a salon because of COVID. And they're having to figure out their own hair at home. And so more people were buying online last year. So, you know, the business also grows naturally with the market.
Yeah, I mean, this year is really where they're seeing the most growth. Like so it might be a little bit of a lag, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, man, it's really been an amazing ride. It's a lot of fun to see. And we're learning a lot, you know. I mean, I don't mean to sound bad, but like we're two white guys, you know, and like we're learning so much. It's kind of cool. And we you know, we're really enjoying the ride. I mean, I wish I knew more about it, but it's kind of cool.
I remember hearing about that hair discrimination law in California, and I remember that our team here was like, we couldn't believe that was an actual thing going on, that people were actually getting discriminated about for their hair.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so many things, and there was a guy who like wrestles, and basically because he had locks, they made him cut his locks so that he could participate in the match. Or there have been plenty of jobs where, like my friend, she worked in accounting. I don't know if it was I forget, one of the big four, and her higher ups would tell her like, you need to straighten your hair, like your hair looks unprofessional. That's so then it's like, okay, well, you get to wear your hair the way it grows out of your head to work, but I have to change mine so that it can be acceptable when I walk in the office. So what it really does is it signals to people that the way you are born is not acceptable, and you need to conform and change that. You are not good enough as you are. You need to change that when you come into this room. So then we kind of get, that's why Black women don't like, a lot of them don't stay in corporate. A lot of us have become entrepreneurs because we didn't feel like we belonged. And one of the things that sticks out the most outside of our skin color is our hair.
So like, okay, so you know, my niece and my nephew are both half Black, and we live in the Northeast, and I grew up in a very like a minority town.
Mhm.
And when Kevin and I started working with Revere, we were like the only two white guys. We hired everybody else who was of color or of some ethnicity.
Mhm.
So like when we heard about this thing in like California, I'm like, is this like really a thing? Is like really people really give a shit about what somebody's like hair looks like? And it was like a really big eye opener to me personally, because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even think that was a thing. And you're saying it, and we've witnessed it, like working with Revere, and it's just crazy that there is a thing that you can't wear your hair the way you were born with it. It's kind of like
Yeah,
mind
and
boggling.
the messaging kind of evolved for us too. Like I remember when we first started with them, we used to have these like before and after pictures where you'd have the girl like standing there like all sad with her froed out hair looking miserable, and then the next it would be like the after picture with her nice straight hair and smiling. And we're like, no, we can't. That's not the messaging we want to put across. We want
Yeah.
people to feel good about their natural hair, and you know what? If they want to straighten it, if they want to do this, they're going to have an easy way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way it should be. And we try to do the same thing with our wash and goes. It's not so more that like you having your afro, it means you should look, downtrodden and broken. No, like your afro is beautiful too, which is why we have a second brand that we launched. We put 4C women at the forefront, called 4C Only. So my vision is that I want to be like a black owned Procter and Gamble. So I want to own multiple brands and overlook segments of the market that are all direct to consumer first, and then maybe eventually there's some kind of retail play.
Yeah,
That's
and when
funny.
you're started, you already got two brands, right?
It's funny. Because I went to your site because I was checking all your stuff, and I signed up for I always do this. Everybody I interview, I sign up for their email list because I like to see kind of they bring up questions for me, and I got the email from 4C Only. I was like, where did this come from? I didn't know that it was from you, so I can now see. It was like this 4C group chat email I got.
Oh, really? Oh, so you
Yeah.
signed up for 4C Only, not for CurlMix, right?
Well, I went to CurlMix, and the pop-up came up to offer me, I think 15 or 20% off. I can't remember. I put my email in, and then it slid me over to sign up for SMS, and I got sidetracked, and I never actually signed up for the SMS, but I did get an email from 4C Only, so I guess that was from you.
Interesting. And you haven't signed up for 4C Only's email? You're certain?
I'm certain. I just went to curlmix.com. I did not go to
Okay, I'll check into that. That's not normal, so I'll check on that for sure.
So I want to talk about the nuts and bolts of your business, because this is where I get excited, right? Like we talked about like the background and like, your why, so to speak. And, I think that, for me personally, Revere really started blowing up when we got the messaging and the audience right, because like most people will think like you want broad. It's really like you want to kind of go like narrow and deep. So can you talk to us a little bit about what your marketing looks like? Like, we'll start like email, and you're doing all kinds of Facebook and Google and stuff. Where are you finding that you're seeing the most growth? So where you're putting your attention, but what does that look like to the world, so to speak?
I think the thing that we do that's kind of like our gold mine is our Facebook group of our customers. A lot of it basically allows us to talk to our customers whenever we want, and them to talk to us whenever they want. That's not purely just an inbox and customer service. And so that our Facebook group gets 40 to 50 posts a day, and from user generated content from real customers. And the group is limited to people who are customers, so you can't get in if you haven't purchased. And we have over 12,000 people in that group. And so if we have a sale, we drop it in the group, and it makes money instantly. But it's also a give and take, right? We have a community manager. We have, we're working together. So building a community is the real value in your business.
Yeah, we've done the same thing for our, we have an online publication that we have a Facebook group on. And it's just amazing to see it kind of runs itself. Like they just produce content for us, and it's unbelievable. And sometimes we'll just take some of their content from the group, we'll drop it on a landing page, or we'll maybe drop it in an email. Or if we have questions, like we're going to send out an email, we're not really sure what to say, or we're not really sure what to offer, we'll just ask the group. And it's like an onslaught of ideas. So that's a really cool idea.
Yep.
I want to know how, and I'm asking you this for selfish reasons. I want to know how you monetize that group outside of just a sale. Like, do you put your videos, like your lives, do they go in there, or YouTube video? Like, how exactly do you monetize that? Because that is one thing. Our group has like, I think 14,000 people in it right now. And honestly, it's mostly just them doing stuff. And when we put our offers in there, they don't quite work that well. So I'm just curious about how you're monetizing that group. And I think a lot of people can learn from this because I have no idea, and I wish I did.
So the answer is that basically I've been going live for years. So people really trust the brand because they know the person behind it. And so basically the group, it doesn't feel like no one at the company is watching it, right? They know that they post them in that group and it was like a bad customer service experience or whatever, like we're reaching out to them. They know that Kim and Tim are checking in this group. I have a community manager and I have a customer service team, but they know that we are in the group, right? And so people don't treat it like this forgettable Facebook group, right? Some people are posting their here and there 2 and 3 times a week. It's a community. So like say, for example, someone doesn't like our product, another customer will tell them how to use it or what they might have did wrong, or like they almost become our champions. And so it's building a really, really strong community so that when we drop something like a spring sale or whatever, everyone kind of goes crazy and sales go up instantly. The thing is, it's not like we're doing a special tactic in the group to make it happen. It's purely about being engaged and involved with our customer on a day-to-day basis. So it's a lot of work in that way. I'm not gonna lie, like having someone, but back in the day, I used to be doing the management and I was like, I couldn't keep up, you know?
Yeah, but the return on that is, I mean, it's twofold. It's hard to scale that, but the return on that is amazing because it's like email, right? Like Kevin and I, we talk about this a lot. Like we'll send an email out, we'll make like $5,000 or $3,000. And like, we'll sit there just like this on Zoom and like, dude, how blessed are we that we could send an email out and make the amount of money that somebody makes in a month?
Yeah.
Right. And it's just so amazing to me how this works. And like you keep saying, drop something in there and we instantly make money. And it's funny because that's how it really is. And
you build community. Yeah. And you build community through content and branding and storytelling. And when you do all that, then you can drop a link, you know, and then you'll have people. It wasn't like that for me a couple of years ago. You know what I mean?
Right. So with that, and that's where we're falling short in our group because we actually own a wildlife photography magazine with someone, and we went from 0 to 2 million in 1 year. And
Congrats.
we didn't do any of that stuff. You know, it was strictly like Facebook and email, Facebook and email.
That's how we got to 1 million. It was it was okay, but at some point you can't really scale with Facebook and Google. You can, but it doesn't make as much money. Like you're burning money at some point. So it's like, how can I capitalize on the people who've already purchased from me? And then that's when that community becomes crucial.
Yeah. And I think, you know, that's another thing that I think, like looking at my older self who was like everybody else, like start like 10 businesses and none of them ever like are successful, never make money, is like, you know, repeat customers. Number one, they'll spend more and they cost nothing because you've already acquired them. We were running this big offer for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And we were like, okay, we had this big strategy for like Facebook ads and email and all this stuff. And it was like working okay. And like, I was just sitting at my computer. I'm like, I'm going to just send an email to our subscribers and just give them something for 50% off. And we did like $42,000 in 1 day. And we're a digital product. So that was like $42,000 of pure profit. Yeah. And it just makes you think that like we spend so much time on acquiring cold traffic instead of trying to sell more shit to the people we already are selling to, right? It's like, it's crazy how we think of that. But what you're doing is exactly that. You're just selling to the people who love you already. And it's just, you know, it's just crazy.
My coach, Lamar Tyler from Traffic Sales and Profit, he was the first person to say this to me. And it was when we were making $3,000 a month, and now you make $500,000 a month. And he said, it's easier to sell old customers new things than new customers anything. And I was like, yeah. Oh, such a good quote. So I live and die by that quote for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing is, one thing that we've learned from Ezra, because, you know, he talks about this a lot. He's like, dude, I never try to like sell. I have one hero product that I sell on the front end. He's like, I don't sell anything else on the front end. It's just this one product. And then I sell all these other things to these people on the back end. He's like, I work with all these people. He's like, and they try to force products down people's throats that they don't want.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a lesson because, you know, when you start getting to where you're at, right? 6 million, our clients are at 70 million. We have clients that are at 10 and 12, and whatever, you know, there's an infatuation with more. And how do you do that? Well, you try to sell more of your products to people, right? And a lot of times, though, like that 80-20 rule, right? Like you start spending a lot of your money acquiring customers that don't really want what you're trying to sell them at the end of the day. And we see that a lot.
And the whole relationship building aspect is so hard for some new people to understand because it takes patience, right? Giving them information, giving them content, giving them value. Even for you, like I went to your website, obviously, a couple of days ago to check you out. And I went on Facebook, and it wasn't like you weren't trying to jam a product down my throat. I think it was like this really cool behind the scenes video of, I can't really remember what you were doing, but it was really just community building. And I think that's so important for people to understand that if you continue to put value out in the world, it was even hard for us. I mean, we've been doing this podcast for 5 years, and several times throughout, they're like, what are we doing? We're not making any money on this. What is this? And then it's slowly, the more and more people who hear you, the more value they get, the more money they make because of our information. It just comes back around. And it seems like that's kind of the strategy you've upheld through this whole journey of yours.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yes, Kevin. We, for a little while, I was on this whole content doesn't make money pitch, right? I wanted to say like, and that was before I knew how to make content make money, right? What it is that you have to have your funnels together. Once you've plugged up all the holes in your bucket, content makes you a lot of money. But you have to, like, so now sending, emails to blogs does make us money. But in the past, when you didn't have a community, an audience, I didn't believe that. You know what I mean? I feel like I was wasting my time. I wrote blogs and did YouTube videos for like a whole year. And I was like, this doesn't make any money. I wasted my time. And now 3 years later, our top video on our YouTube channel is a video I made 3 years ago about the top 55 ingredients to use to make products in your kitchen. I think it's a couple 100,000 views. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's still bringing people in. You know what I'm saying? It's still the number one video on our channel, and we're not putting ads in behind it. And it's like, oh my gosh, content does make you money, but it takes time. So content is not gonna make you money the moment you start making content. It's gonna make you money maybe 6 months in, maybe a year in, and that's the hard thing because you gotta wait.
But you do get better. You do get better at it, This message comes from our sponsor, Wix e-commerce, the professional platform that enables entrepreneurs all over the world to create and run their online stores and grow their e-commerce businesses. One of those entrepreneurs is Angel Gregorio, who runs thespicesuite.com, a $2 million multi-channel business on Wix. When the pandemic forced so many brick and mortar businesses to close their doors, Angel knew that she had to pivot to online to keep selling her spices and keep up with the demand from her loyal customers. In fact, in just 2 months, she sold over $900,000 worth of spices through her online store, and her last batch sold out in 2.5 minutes. Angel uses her social channels to drive special sales and email marketing to update her customers about new inventory and upcoming events. She also uses in-depth analytics to gain business insights and monitors everything in her sales funnel, store management, marketing automation, and detailed payment reports, all from one dashboard. So if you want to succeed in 2021 and grow your online business like Angel did, head over to wix.com/e-commerce today. I don't know if you saw that time lapse video somebody put. Are you familiar with ClickFunnels? You seem like you're pretty plugged in. So I saw this time lapse of this clear, I don't know what it was, but there was dirt in it, right? And it was clear so that like when you videoed it, you can see like the dirt, right? And so like they put like this seed in it, and then it goes like 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, 12 days, 20, whatever. And it shows how like everything is happening underneath the surface for the first 2 months. And then all of a sudden it starts coming out of the dirt and coming up and coming up and coming up. And then it just like this big giant plant comes out. And it was saying that you're building, the roots have to take hold before you can start seeing this success that you're looking for. And most people don't want to do that, right? People, they just want it to go up.
That's exactly how I feel about documentation in our business. Writing down everything and putting processes in place and getting leadership and management and, you know, having a big team so that the company can function without me. It's like the dirty work that nobody really wants to do. But once that is done, we'll be able to scale more quickly because we'll have, you know, singular functions and roles, and you won't, because before we would have like a key player who could do 5 things, and once they're gone, they're like, oh crap, I got to hire for 5 different things, you know? So I totally feel that 100%.
Yeah, we have a guy. Have you heard of True Earth?
No, I haven't heard that.
So he became a good friend of ours. He was on the podcast as well. He's doing like, he went from like, he's doing like 6 million a month. It's like crazy.
That's awesome.
Subscription product.
Subscription product. And you know, he's like everybody else. Like he's like, dude, he's like, I would just sit at my computer and spend $20,000 a day on Facebook, and I would see what I'd get back from it. He's like, and I just spoke to him the other day, and he's like, oh, I hired a director of marketing, a director of this. So I said, well, what's going on? He's like, look, I just can't do all these things like I did when we first started this out. And it just reminded me of that. And it's something that Kevin and I are learning ourselves. Like Kevin likes to do everything, you know, but he can't be you're a control freak, but you can't be in all places at all times.
No, you can't, you know, and then especially if you plan on selling your company, employees are part of the package, you know, otherwise you're not selling anything. Like you are the thing that they're buying. And then, you know, so not that I'm trying to sell anytime soon, but I'm just saying, like, people build businesses and they sell them. If you don't have a team, they're not really buying much. Yeah.
Talk about email. Are you guys big on email? Because for us, we've always found like okay, like Facebook could shut you down, Google could shut you down, YouTube could shut you down, but email, if they shut you down, you just go somewhere else, right? So that's like, to us, our most valuable asset. How much of that is part of your marketing plan? I know like Facebook Lives are huge and your group is big, and I went on your Instagram. I know you're doing everything, but how much of your focus is actually on email? Because for us, we focus a lot on it.
So email, that was my first method. Before I even understood Facebook ads, I understood email. And so I was our first email marketer for a very long time. 41% of our revenue comes from email. So it's a big deal for us. That's what I meant by plugging all the holes in your bucket. So, you know, there's email, there's SMS, there's, you know, our Facebook Lives, all of that. And then everything content wise is just getting people through that funnel. You know what I'm saying? So email is huge. And we basically have a customized quiz that people get results from. And then that is kind of what builds our revenue in our email.
Yeah, we have a quiz too on Rivera, and it's been crazy the amount of people. And it's what's your hair type? It's the same thing as yours.
We saw, we're like, oh my God, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah, and it works really well.
And people take it all the time. We don't really drive traffic to it right now. People just find it. We put it in our blogs. We just kind of drop it in certain places, and people take it. And we get like a lot of insight. We can actually segment people of the kind of hair types they have. So that could be really effective.
Yeah.
So let's touch on, I want to touch on Shark Tank a little bit, because it seems like you got everything rolling. Like you guys are doing really awesome. And you went on Shark Tank a couple years ago. What prompted you to do that? And kind of what was that experience like for you?
Shark Tank, my husband and I, we went to an open casting call. We actually had to take our baby because we didn't have a sitter at the time. He was just born, my 3-year-old. And we went and pitched, and the producer at the end of our pitch was like, Kim and Tim, I like that. And I was like, oh my God, maybe she's gonna call me back. And so then in 2 weeks we got the email, and I like screamed. I was so excited. And really, when they call you back, that's when the work begins. So we probably spent maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months going back and forth with producers, rewriting our pitch 8 different times, submitting videos 3 or 4 times. It was a lot of work. And then while you're running the business and still preparing for those tough questions. And so what's funny is your numbers change every month. So you might be practicing certain numbers and then they change. And so you have to kind of be ready. I would say Shark Tank is probably one of the hardest things I did outside of natural childbirth. That was the first. And then it was Shark Tank.
Yeah, we get everybody on here, and it's amazing, the stories. Like one day you're going, the next day you're not. Then you're going again, then you're not going. Then they want you next month, but then they wanted you yesterday. Then you got to get on a plane, and it's crazy. And then like
you prepare your whole set. You like, that was the thing I didn't know. I'm like, oh, surely they're helping people put these sets together. That is your money. And
Yeah.
you figuring that out. And I was like, oh, lessons. So
did you get an investment from somebody?
we got an offer from Robert for $400,000 for 20% of the company. But at the time, we were already on track to make $1 million that year. And so we ended up turning the deal down. I didn't feel like it was a fair valuation. I wasn't on the show for TV. I'm going to be taking this business home. So for me, I was going to give up more than 15% because I knew I was going to raise money one day. And 20%, any investor would look at me like, is she nuts? Like, I don't know. So I knew I'd have to be able to eat that later.
It's funny, Kim, because Kevin gets mad at me for saying this. Kevin and I have been in business. We've been in this industry for 17, 18 years. We've been doing this a really long time. And for the most part, like most people, we failed most of that time, and we're having some really, really amazing success with some of our businesses. And I talk to people like you, and I'm like, I'm like, you're just like so much smarter than like the things you're thinking about. I'm like, how am I creating a multi-million-dollar business when you got people like you out there creating businesses? I'm like, I don't even look. You're like, what percentage of your revenue should be spending on your? I don't even think about that shit. I'm like, okay, how do I make more money today? What do I got to do to make more money today? How do I, So it's like, I say this all the time when we talk to people like you. I'm like, it just makes me feel like I shouldn't be in business. I got to shut everything down. But it's amazing. It's amazing what you've done. How long have you been in business for?
We started CurlMix in 2015 as the DIY box, but we pivoted at the top of 2018. So we were true e-commerce, I would say, top of 2018. So the last few years.
So how long did it take you to hit your first million?
If I'm being honest, I started my first business in 2013. It was a social network for natural hair.
A social network.
Yeah. If you know anything about social networks, niche social networks don't work. If your social network can be a Facebook group, don't do it. But I did that.
But you ended up doing it anyway with your Facebook group. It's the same kind of thing.
I know, it's full circle.
If your social media platform can be a Facebook group, don't do it. That's good advice.
I learned that with my own money and not someone else's millions. So good for me, I guess.
Right.
I did that for the first 2 years, and then I did the DIY box. So honestly, 4 years of like trudging through the mud before I made $1 million.
And how long did it take you to go from there to 6? Like people like hearing all this stuff. That's why I'm asking. I like to hear it too.
I don't mind shit. I'm pretty transparent. We did $1 million in 2018. 2019, we did 5.5 million, but on 1.8 million spend. So I feel like that wasn't, and we did 1 million of that on Amazon. So I just was like, I feel like I'm not seeing the cash that I actually, brought in. So the next year, I actually came out mostly off of Amazon, and we dropped our spend by half. So I'm thinking, okay, we're probably going to make less money. We ended up doing 6 million last year. So, and only on $1 million spend. So this year, revenue is up 70%, Q1 2020 versus Q1 2021. And so hopefully, we'll hit 8 figures this year, but I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
Can I just ask, just as like as you're talking, I'm just curious because like I hear those numbers that you're saying and I'm like, okay, you spend 1.8 and you got back 5.5 or whatever it was, 5. And you're like, oh, like to me, I'm saying to myself like, oh shit, like year 2, when it starts compounding, I would do that all day. Like I would spend 1.8 to get 5.5 all day. I wouldn't even care like how that happened because I know that there's.
We manufacture our products though. So we manufacture. It's like I'm spending $3 on a product like clean and just buying it from someone in China. Like I have to. My team, because we have everyone in house and I have payroll. You know what I mean? Like
so that's not net ROAS. That's not net return.
The 5.5, I didn't even say anything about profit and loss because basically I don't want to get in trouble with the SEC, and right now we're having audited financials and we're raising money with the equity crowdfund, so I don't want to misguide the public. So look, we have audited financials on our Form C at wefunder.com/CurlMix if you guys want to invest. We've raised almost 3 million so far in the last week.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
That's
I'm
awesome.
super excited.
You got to be excited. You got to be excited because we're going through that right now, and it's like
Oh, you guys are raising an equity crowdfund?
No, I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about it or not.
There we go. You got us.
But yeah, it's just like you said, the questions that you're asked, and like it's not like so cut and dry. It's not like, okay, we did this, we got this back for that. It's like,
I used to be so comfortable with saying those numbers, and I still am. But the thing is, when you do equity crowdfunding, you have to have audited financials, and it's audited in GAAP, right? So generally accepted accounting principles, which means you have to be on accrual and not cash. And because we grew so quickly, we were on cash for a while. So my numbers I can give you, top line, over 6 million, et cetera. But like when you adjust it for GAAP, it might be different. So I don't want to get in trouble for that. So
no, and
that's what I was doing.
And then when you're working with investors, like they want to know like how you got there. Like, were you lucky? Did you have a strategy behind it? Like, what was the strategy? And like, what's the strategy when you get the money? And like, like that's like the Shark Tank thing, right? Like, it's like, even if you close a deal right there, like that's not really where the deal happens. It's like, now we're going to start looking at everything and making sure you're being honest and making sure that you did this on purpose. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Tim, where does all this entrepreneurial knowledge and marketing knowledge come from? Do you have like a background? Like, was your family entrepreneurs, or we didn't talk about like going to school or anything, but was this just like you figured it out along the way?
So I grew up on the south side of Chicago at Morgan Park High School. I didn't know a single entrepreneur in my family. People barely went to college. My mom, worked really hard, but she was in the Army. She worked, she's in the Army for a couple of years, for 1 year, and then she was in the Navy. Didn't meet my dad till I was 13. So like, no, I was not born into any of this. My husband and I, we went to U of I together, and he kind of learned about internet marketing, put me on the Tim Ferriss's early on, put me on to, influence like Robert Cialdini, BuzzSumo, like a lot of the early internet marketing folks.
Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn? Were you a Pat Flynn guy?
No, I don't know what happened, but I know Neil Patel. Like, so Tim would he would put me into touch with not in touch with those people, but just their content. And then I also have coaches. So I got in touch with Arlen from Backstage Capital, where I met my advisor, who I've been working with for 3 years. I'm a part of the Traffic Sales and Profit community, which is has the largest group of Black entrepreneurs in the country on Facebook group. And then I have another brand coach. So I have a lot of people. Like, I do the work as a student, you know what I'm saying? Them being my coach and me being a student, I'm always studying, always learning. I've taken a bunch of Ezra's courses, all the free stuff that he puts out there. I've listened to all of it, even his Black Friday stuff. I'm just I just absorb all the knowledge, I want to learn as much as I can. And then if I know it, I can teach my team. So I can always.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I want to go play golf. That's what I want to do. Like, I don't have these big plans of creating a business that I want to exit. Like, I love our digital product business, because there's a lot of profit in it. You don't have to do a lot of work other than like marketing, like emails and some Facebook and stuff. Like me, I'm like the complete opposite. I don't have any aspirations to do that. I want to chill. I'm 44 years old now. I've been doing this since I was like 26, so I'm kind of like on the other side now. I want to just kind of hang out.
Not suited for the whole building a team and the structure. We've been down that road and it kind of didn't work out very well for us. I'm so
sorry. How big did you guys get?
Not
I'm
that
29.
big.
I'm 29, so I got some time.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. 29. I mean, shit. I probably had a hard time sending an email when I was 29. I mean, it's that's awesome. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I can't tell you how impressive that is at 29 years old, because you're running a big giant company at that age. And I don't mean to, it's just not a long time to be in the game. Most of us have been in it for 15, 20 years, and we've been failing for that long. You know what I mean? That's amazing. You're smart, obviously you're smart, but that's amazing that
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate that.
You could do something like that, because I certainly couldn't.
And you're working with your husband. How does that work?
My husband, he won $100,000 on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. My husband's brilliant.
He was on
smart
Who Wants
guy.
to Be a Millionaire?
I read that somewhere. Yes.
Yeah.
So you guys are both smart. And this
awesome.
makes a lot of sense now.
He's brilliant. He's just
I need to find a smart partner.
He's just a lazy one. So for example, I told you my first business kind of failed. I was basically doing it for 2 years and not making any money, but technically that's a tech company, but whatever. I was in it for 2 years, not making money. And he had known about the Neil Patels and the BuzzSumo apps and all of that. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, when are you going to tell me about these things? And I was like working on this stuff. He was just like, I don't know. It's just stuff I read. And I'm just like, he's just he was in academic decathlon in high school. So like he was the head of it for fun, taking extra classes for fun. Like that's just, he's a reader.
A lot of those people, my little cousin is the same way. Like the guy, he's a waste of the brain power that he has. Like he could play poker with you and remember what card you picked like an hour ago, right? Like he has a photographic memory. He went to college and like got a like 0.01, right? Like he's lazy. He doesn't want, but he's brilliant. I mean, brilliant. And it sounds funny the way you said, like he's the lazy one.
I shouldn't call him lazy. I love my husband. He will do anything I need him to do, especially when it comes to the business. He was my first hire, right? So like,
was he your first fire? Was first fire as well?
Not my first fire. No,
okay.
no.
Not yet.
He was over like operations and everything up until we were doing maybe like 6 million, like up to like 5 or 6 million or whatever. And then I realized that's more of a risk having having the business depend on him as well. So trying to build it so it can grow without us. Not that we're trying to leave it, but it's just, we don't want to be risk to the business. And so he'll do whatever I need, but he's not the entrepreneur in our marriage. You know what I'm saying? So he knows that that's me. And he was like, I'll let Kim work late. I'll let Kim figure it out. Like, I know she's a problem solver. I'll watch the kids and change the diapers. But if she needs me to tee her up on an interview, or if she needs me to review some copy, or if she needs me to give her some advice on strategy, like I'm here. And so like, and he's very, very valuable. So I run all my stuff and ideas and things by him almost every day. So it's almost like having a consultant in-house, but he doesn't have to be the executor or like the doer of any of it, you know?
And this is like his only job, right?
Yes.
So,
he's not doing anything else.
All right, so he's in heaven, right? He's like kind of like, hey, let me know when you need me. I'm here. Other than that, I'm hang out with the kids.
You probably drive him nuts with all your ideas, right?
Oh yes, he hates it. Oh my gosh, like, cause he's totally not the big idea. Like he's not the idea guy, right? So like if I have ideas about apps or whatever, and I'm like, ooh, like I'm thinking about this and this and that, he can shoot each one down. Like it's like, that won't work because of this. That won't work because of this. And I'm just like, you suck. Like just give me some feed, like some, dream with me for a moment. Be creative, and he's just more so like, he's more of a realist, as I would say.
Like my buddy over there. You see that guy over there?
Yeah.
Little chubby guy. Him and I are like, we're like a married couple. I'm like, Kevin, I was like last night, I woke up at like 3:00 in the morning. I was thinking about this thing. He's like, whoa. We got these other 3 things that we started.
Yeah. Take a step back. We didn't do what we talked about yesterday yet.
Yes. That's Tim.
Yeah.
That's Tim.
So that's awesome.
You gotta have that balance though, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We're on. I know that you were an hour. This has been awesome. Congratulations. You've done such an amazing job. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, where they should be buying your stuff, how they should be interacting with your brand before we go?
You guys can, if you guys want to try out CurlMix and help you get the best wash and go ever, go to CurlMix.com. And if you think that I am smart and would like to invest in our business, you can go to wefunder.com/CurlMix.
I can tell you guys, not that I know because I'm part of this niche, but this is like an up and coming niche that's been around forever and nobody knows about it, really. Yeah. Quite frankly, it's true. And it's we're excited, we're in it, and wish you all the luck.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kim.
So much. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me.
That was a really great interview, Jason. She was a really, really great. She had a really great story, and she was funny. As soon as we got off, I was telling her some things that I don't know if I told about it. I said it on the podcast or not. Some little issues that I saw on her website, and she was like on it. Even before she hung up the Zoom, she was on the phone with her CMO to trying to get it fixed. So she's got that kind of high intensity personality that I loved.
Yeah, she was definitely on it, and you just knew she was going to be successful.
And she had she has kind of like the same relationship that we have with her husband.
Yeah, it's pretty fine, right? I'm like the smart lazy one.
The smart.
Now he's the smart lazy one, and she's the executor. That's kind of like
you're the smart. Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. Guys, if you are struggling with your Facebook ads and you can't figure out how to make money with them, Kev, Facebook and email are really like the secrets to us growing our business to $2 million in literally a year. So if you're struggling with that, go to ecommerceuncensored.com/truth. I'd love to have you in the course. You can ask me anything that you want once you're in there. And so check it out.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 212. As always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com. We'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.
Hey guys, this message comes from our sponsor, Wix e-commerce, the professional platform that enables entrepreneurs all over the world to create and run their online store and grow their e-commerce business. One of those entrepreneurs is Angel Gregorio, who runs thespicesuite.com. In just a few months, she sold over $900,000 worth of spices through her online store alone. So if you want to grow your online business in 2021, head over to wix.com/e-commerce today.